Welcome to another special edition of Ask an Engineer. This time we're doing Ask a Microcenter President CEO. With me is Rick Mershad, who is the President and CEO of Microcenter, which you probably know about because if you're watching the show, you probably make stuff or hack stuff or do computers or internet things. You probably, once in a while, I got to go to a store and buy a hard drive or a LCD or Raspberry Pi, and you probably went to Microcenter. So welcome.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
This is one of your first interviews.
First interview?
Yeah, so that's exciting. It's like a day of firsts. So can you just tell us a little bit about yourself? Just like give us a two-sentence.
Sure, I'd love to. My name's Rick Mershad, and I've been with Microcenter since 2 years after its founding. I started off on the sales floor.
What were you selling?
At that time, we were selling Apple.
Okay.
The original Apple computers, and we had Osborne.
Cool.
Osborne was there at that time, and limited selection of software and HP products. In fact, we started off in the engineering aspect of the HP products.
So like multimeters and oscilloscopes or whatever.
Right, exactly.
Test equipment.
For the test equipment and things like that. And then the company kind of morphed into a department store. And the reason why that happened is that we took over an old department store, and customers would come in and ask for different products. They'd say, I need a ribbon for my printer. So we'd open up an accessories department.
Okay.
And eventually we called ourselves the computer department store.
Okay.
So the different categories of merchandise at that time were like accessories, we had printers, we had software, and then we had a lot of things that we're talking about today, which is the do-it-yourself kits.
Which goes very well, especially, let's see, Microcenter was started, what year, in 79?
1979.
So at the time, it was like when you bought an Apple computer or Commodore 64, it came with schematics because it was like when the floppy drive stops working, open it up and like tweak this potentium. Like you actually had to do that.
Exactly. And we had to have engineering support on the floor. I mean, when the customer walked into the store, you could not just, a lot of times the equipment wouldn't work and they needed a lot of support. So we started off with a very heavy support department right in the beginning.
Interesting. And so Microcenter was, I mean, what was the original goal of the founding? Was it to sell computer equipment or accessories, or was it just kind of like a store, and like why was it founded?
That's a good question.
We don't know. Nobody knows.
No, it was a good question because the two original founders, I started a year and a half after the store was founded.
Yeah.
The two original founders were from Radio Shack.
Oh.
For Radio Shack. So
drama.
So
it's like
a lot of drama.
Cool.
So the original idea was that electronics were important. In fact, our corporate name is Microelectronics, and we incorporated our name in 1979. So it was to bring technology to the consumer. And the way we started, though, was with the first computers, the portable PCs, which then were the size of a tank.
They were portable. You could move them.
The compact, big boxes, and then eventually we moved into the IBM. IBM came out with a PC that became very popular in the business environment.
Is it PC Junior, or was this before that?
No, it was actually the desktop PC.
Just the big PC, that was all it was called. You could actually call it that because
it was called the IBM PC.
It was the personal computer.
It was the personal computer. And I'll never forget that we had Battelle, which is a research institute, bought 200 of them at one time. So we had this huge order.
Great sales deal for you.
Yeah, it was a great sales deal.
Were you into electronics and computers at the time? Were you personally interested, or were you just like, this is a sales gig, I'm gonna do sales?
No, I really didn't know anything about it. In fact, I graduated at Ohio State in business and finance, and it was interesting. A friend of mine said that was repping Apple, said, if you ever need a job, come and see me.
Okay.
And I interviewed, and I was offered the job right on the spot.
Sweet.
Because at that time there was not, there was only 7 employees.
Yeah.
And they put me on the phones, making phone calls to businesses.
That's cool.
To try to get them in the store to buy products.
Yeah, cold call. Well, you didn't have email. Okay, so right now there's 25 stores.
Yes.
And is expansion and growth something that you focus on? Like, that's on one hand, like 25 stores is a lot of stores. On the other hand, it's like compared to many chains that isn't that many. It's a very constrained growth. Why is that? Why don't you have one in every city in the world? Like, why 25?
Those are good questions. I think I can go back to the same reason why you don't probably have a product for everybody in the world.
Yeah.
So what we did is we designed Microcenter and understood who our customers were. And what we found is it was a very heavy engineering, IT-based customer that was productivity driven. And they love PCs, and they love to work with PCs. And they also like to build their own PCs. So what we did is we developed a model that determined where those customers were located around the country. And we have mapping systems that tell us how long it takes you to drive.
That's cool.
And what products you want to carry. And right now, we have room probably for another 20, 25 more locations around the country. But we put.
So you have your eyes on like, okay, San Francisco location or LA location.
Right.
I don't know if you have locations
Exactly.
there, but you're like, we're not quite ready yet, but we might. You're ready to if you want, because it's a huge endeavor. The stores are quite large. I mean, how large is the average Microcenter?
They're like 45,000 square feet, and they carry 40,000 SKUs.
Yeah.
And each store has 120 staff members.
And it's like retail. I mean, there's a lot of effort. Like, we're 40,000 square feet here in Adafruit.
Right.
But it's a lot of storage and manufacturing, and we don't have customers come in. We have to care for them and do ring returns,
Right.
and we do online only. So it's kind of fascinating to talk to you. And does Microcenter do any online, or is it mostly
Well,
in-store?
we made a decision, and through our research, I understand that you work with a lot of numbers from Phil, but that we knew that there was going to be a very big internet presence coming. And we made a decision that it was more important for us to create a store environment that we could really focus in on. So we use the internet to really drive the customers into the store and then try to give them that experience.
So yeah, it says here, like, if someone places an order online, it can be picked up physically within 18 minutes.
Yes.
How do you do that? Like, that's, like, most store, it's so difficult. There's the website, and then there's a store, and rarely is there any interaction. It's very unusual.
It's very difficult.
Yeah.
And the reason why it's difficult is because Samantha just informed me today that she wants to carry another 300 products from Adafruit.
Okay.
And you have to get them into the store and find placement. And then because our products move all the time, similar to what you said that you do, you're always inventing.
Yeah.
There's not really one place for that product to always be in the store. So what
where
we
does
do,
Raspberry Pi go? Is it in DIY or is it in
it
computers?
is, and then you run out of
DIY, yeah.
and then you run out of peg hooks and all that. So what we've done is build a system of managing more by category of where the product's placed, and we have mobile devices that allow pickers to know the approximate area where the product is.
Okay, so they'll get a notice. Order came in. They want a Raspberry Pi and Adafruit Pi
Right.
TFT, a case, and then they also want like a 1 terabyte Western Digital hard drive. And so they'll say, go to this location, go to this location.
And go pick it, and they'll find the general locations and pick it, and then they have to have it into the pickup area within 18 minutes.
That's cool.
And we find that to be a great assistance to the customers, and it helps us compete against the internet because it gives that instant.
You get both.
Yes,
you get
exactly.
the instant of, and also one of the things that people like about online shopping is it's like, well, is it in stock or not? Usually the inventory is much better understood. Like, I think you can sometimes call a store and say, do you have any on the shelf? But then it's like, well, I'll go check. And then like 25 minutes later, when they forget your call. But with this, it's like you get both. You get knowing that it's in stock.
Right.
And you don't have to worry about like shipping costs and I'll be home to pick it up.
Exactly.
And also when you go to the pickup area, you can look at it and be like, oh, I got the wrong thing. And instead of doing the whole returns nonsense, they can just immediately go and get the right item.
And we find that that customers enjoy that service, and it's about 20% of our orders go through that process. And a lot of times customers, like let's say there's a great product from Adafruit and it's in high demand, and they know that they can drive and pick up that one part. If they know that's reserved, then they spend the other time shopping in the store.
That's a very good point.
And
they're
knowing
like, well,
that
I came here for this, but now that I'm here, I should check what's new.
Exactly.
Check out what Samantha's purchased.
I got what I needed, right? And I don't want to, or if the new Raspberry Pi board came out and they wanted to make sure it was in stock, because there were shortages in the beginning, they could reserve it.
Yeah.
And then know they have that main part and then shop the rest of the store.
Okay, so we talked about the online stores. I think that's interesting that you do a combination. Will you ever do shipments, like online purchasing, or is it kind of not? You're going to really focus on retail store?
Because
that's covered.
In fact, I want to learn from you. In fact, on the way up in the elevator, Philip was mentioning about, where you could have the process of you have a kit or a project, and they can press a button and then get all those parts and pieces and have it at an in-store pickup. We think our value to the customer with all the competitive channels of distribution is the actual facility with the staff and the knowledge bar and the enjoyment of the physical shopping environment. And we don't think that that's our direction. And we have no plans on doing that.
What you've got covered is covered. You know what you're good at.
Right, and that's exactly right.
And now, getting into this topic of what you're good at, so you guys are amazing at the store. Like, I've been to Microcenter in Cambridge, Massachusetts, which was very intelligently positioned, very close to MIT, but not so close.
It was between MIT and Harvard.
Between MIT and Harvard, but also there's tons of universities, and you could bike down there or even walk if you were, or it was a nice day out. And the selection was amazing, especially books. I was always impressed by the book selection. There was everything you would ever want to learn. There was components and parts. And since you've been with Microcenter for so long, how have you seen what you're carrying change? Like, have you noticed, since, I mean, I've not been to Microcenter in 1979, so I don't know what you used to carry, but have you noticed the market adjusting to different types of products? Not just a Raspberry Pi, but overall, like,
a little bit.
Concepts and groups.
But a key question that you brought up is the books. We used to carry almost 15,000 books in our stores.
No, there was a lot of. I mean,
that was our goal, is to make sure that we attracted a very educated customer that wanted to use the technology. Now we're down to maybe 500 books.
Okay.
So that's changed dramatically. Software used to be a common thing.
Yeah, you go and buy a box of Mac Write. Now you don't buy Mac Write
You don't buy it anymore. Everybody wants to download all those things.
Yeah.
A lot of the consumables are changing because of tablets and so forth. So you're seeing a huge reduction in the use of paper and ink and all those.
So you don't sell the 100 packs of floppy disks anymore, not so popular.
No, we don't. But we do sell. But there's still a big market for like CDR and DVD, but it's declining.
Declining. Yeah, the 90s was definitely a peak, in the 2000s. And then
what we also see, though, you would think would be declining because of the wireless world, is cables, but we're finding there's never enough cables and different ways for customers to hook.
HDMI and
the right angle, the left angle,
and it goes in the micro USB, and now it's mini, and then now there's USB 3. No, cables will never. That's a great business.
So we were always worried because of what Intel's push and everything, that everything would move wirelessly. But now we're seeing a lot of growth in those areas.
Huh.
And
do people still go in and build a computer by getting a motherboard and a processor?
Oh my, yeah, that's funny you asked that. That customer is so important to us.
Yeah.
I mean, there must be in every market that we serve, there must be 50,000 people that want to build their own PCs, and the reason being is that they have a lot of specific uses, and a lot of the manufacturers, they don't build PCs that were
so if you're gaming or engineering, it's like you need a specific kind of
how about high graphic needs or
animators or
anything
people doing media or video editing.
And then also you have a lot of VARs that want to create that product for their customer, and they need a place to buy all that. And of course you can go online, but again, Microcenter, you can do it with it.
It's all there.
It's all there.
So it's all there. It's all working. You've got 40, 50,000 square foot locations in 25 places. So now I'm gonna get to this slightly sad part of the interview. Not sad for you because he's working out for you, but this year Radio Shack filed for bankruptcy protection.
Yes.
And I don't know if you've heard about them, but they had, I don't know how many locations did they have. You probably know. They had a
oh
couple
God,
thousand.
it was several thousand.
Several thousand. And then I don't think Radio Shack is a direct competitor, but they were in your market. They were selling cables and components, and at the time they did sell Tandy computers, I remember, because I would go in it to look at them. Why were they not able to, in your opinion, to pivot or adjust so that they could follow the market and become successful? Why are you guys still around? And they're in court.
Well, it's a good question, because think about, our founders were from Radio Shack, so that's where we got our base.
They knew 30 years ago.
One thing would be the size of the store. mean, I think it was not profitable for them to sell all those little components.
Even though you think that, mostly people say, oh, smaller is better. They had much smaller stores, but in your case, you actually think a larger store.
I think you need the economies of scale. You need to have the velocity by store. Also, I think that Radio Shack wasn't very clear on the direction. I mean, I think
It's also franchise. Like everyone it was different.
They got into phones.
Yeah.
And,
do you guys even sell cell phones? Do you have cell phones in the store?
No, we're into unlocked, but yeah, it's been.
Which is like hacking, like you get an Android tablet and
Exactly.
you like modify it, but I can't go in and get an AT&T contract.
No, you cannot.
That's so cool.
Why?
Congratulations.
Why is that?
Because like everybody else, it's like I can't even go to like the local bodega and get like a sandwich without them trying to sell me a cell phone contract. Like everybody, it's like this is because it's this tasty, delicious business. They think like it's so easy, but the problem is they just get sliced to death.
Well, we want to be the best computer device store in the world. So anything that has a microprocessor-based product, we want to be the best in the world at that. Mm-hmm. And the phones just didn't fit our selling strategy with the contract and the amount of time that you have to spend with the customer versus our salespeople, engineering-wise and technology-wise, being able to sit down and explain how our Arduino might work, or how you build your own PC, or the productivity benefits of a PC. And that's really what we're the best at. And in fact, our new stores will be we'll have over 120 desktops displayed and about over 100 laptop computers, and then we're going to carry any other kind of devices that are microprocessor powered.
Yeah.
So we see our stores as a huge store for devices. Yeah. And then on the other side, then you need all the things that connect to the devices.
So you're more likely to carry like the phone, which Phil showed you. It's our cell phone module for embedded. Yeah. And that's like a phone, but it's like build your own phone.
We'd love to have that. Yeah, we're into that.
And what's fascinating is, people like, not you and your friends, because you guys are cool, but like other people come in, they're like, well, people don't build stuff anymore. And I'm trying to say, like, no, people actually do build stuff.
A lot of stuff.
Are you actually seeing your market increase? Are you seeing?
This DIY category is just exploding.
Yeah.
And we're very happy about STEM. I think that the STEM movement is driving a lot of what's going on today. And we think it's really exciting that America is inventing again. Yeah. And that we have students such as yourself, and you talked about your story, that are playing around with the engineering tools and the devices and making their own creations. Mm-hmm. And we see that as really important to Microcenter's future.
Yeah, you see that particular segment is growing.
It's very growing pretty rapidly.
Wow, that's cool. All right, well.
I mean, I'm sure you see it too with your. I know you have your Ask Engineer and your Maker movement.
Yeah.
And the attendance at the fairs. It's pretty amazing the amount of students now and younger colleges and high schools that are incorporating that into their programs.
And yeah, it's interesting because it's ironic that even though starting from the 80s when people would get computers and you might have to build some parts of it, like you might have to get an Apple II card and slot it in.
Right.
And then there was this like DIY PC era of like the 90s where you kind of had to buy a motherboard and a processor and match everything up. And now I agree that some people do that, but a lot of people do just buy a laptop or a computer that's already made. But instead they're focusing their energies on doing technology rather than just building a computer. They're building an Arduino project. So it's kind of the same group of people, but every generation they just change a little bit of what they do. So,
and that generation is very important to us because what we're finding is the customers normally building their own PCs. I mean, the demographic is older, and it tends to be in 40s and 50s and something like that, 30s and 40s and 50s, and we're seeing the DIY space not only attract the younger generation, but also, again, the most important thing to me is that I want America to take your components and spend time inventing again, so America can start producing our own technology and producing their ideas. And that's what really makes me.
Have you ever been interested in learning Arduino? Do you want to get a Raspberry Pi and put it together?
Yes, of course I do.
Okay.
No, I'd love to do that.
That's awesome.
I personally am involved in almost every product in the store.
Really?
Yes.
Do you actually do the approval of like this gets in, this is not getting in?
We sit through quarterly meetings and we look at every category. We look at where Microcenter's positioned, where we're going to grow.
I mean, there's 40,000
things.
I mean,
I know on a weekly basis many of your components you sold last week.
Yeah, so Samantha like picks, she has her line card of like what she wants to pick. And so,
Right.
so this is interesting. So you actually have a very hands-on view of what's in the store. Just interesting, like you're actually, even though there's 40,000, you really know the market quite well. Is there anything that isn't in the store that you think would be cool? Like, is there something that you wish would be invented or you wish you could carry? You're going to make some ideas.
I think the Internet of Things, that whole the whole idea of being able to make everything work together. We think it's the next phase of this process, is getting the networking and all that to work together. And that's one thing I wish would happen, because once that becomes more standardized, then we can focus in on selling the products. Right now, it's pretty.
Do you guys sell
fragmented.
any home automation? Do you sell any of the Z-Wave stuff or X10 or?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we also, we have the Nest now and those kind of products we're bringing in.
Okay, so interesting. So you guys are going. You're always
adjusting
and checking out what's available.
We probably survey almost 50,000 customers a month and ask them what products they're interested in and where the trends are going. And
why did you guys decide to carry Adafruit? I have no idea.
Our customers told us they wanted it.
That's cool.
Enough
people asked, and they're
right.
like, "Get this in."
And Raspberry Pi, we're selling now about 4,000 to 5,000 boards a week.
Wow.
And you need to attach different cables, and you need all your great stuff that you sell. So we want to be able to support that customer. So it gets driven out of that core base product, and then we look what it needs to attach to that. So like the PC would be the processor, and then we try to bring everything else around the processor if you want to build your own PC. Same thing with your category. We think that the board is the base, and then we want to build the attachments, and then we track the behavior of those customers over a period of time.
Oh, interesting.
So that customer base is amazing. I don't know if you know that your numbers, but the do-it-yourself customers,
they love building stuff.
And they're repeat purchasers.
Oh, absolutely. No, they'll build something and then they'll be like,
right.
that was fun, I want to do it again, and then they'll come back. And a lot of things that we're doing now, and what I like about Microcenter is you guys are flexible. So for example, a lot of the projects we have now, like we had like the Pi Girl, which is a little DIY game board.
Right.
So it's a Raspberry Pi and a screen, but then you 3D print the enclosure, and you guys carry 3D printers, and maybe you'll carry other tools eventually as well.
But think how cool that is, that you can do what you did, and we can open up that opportunity to so many people in the world.
Yeah.
That they can start in their garage or apartment and invent something and put it together. They can prototype it, they can build their first case with the 3D printer, they can do all the engineering, and then create products.
Have you guys ever thought of having like a Microcenter Labs where you have your own in-house engineers and they design products for Microcenter? I mean, I know you have your own like in-house cable brand because it makes the most sense to do that, but like actually designing products?
We have, right. I mean,
cool.
we design our own tablet.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What's it called? I hope it's
WinBook.
Okay.
We're in the process of designing our own unlocked phone.
That's cool.
And we put together our own PCs.
Yeah.
And we do our own networking.
Yeah, so like Ethernet
so
cards or
private
Wi-Fi.
label kind of things like that. So
that's cool. And do you know if you do the engineering in-house, or do you contract with engineers to do that?
I have a very long history in China, because I walked the factory floors back in the beginning of the 80s. And we usually do the contract manufacturing. We'll come up with the idea and
you go to a tablet maker and they'll be like, well, we make other tablets.
We'll specify, here's the particular processors we want, here's the battery, here's the size, here's the way it should look, but we won't actually design the board.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Is there anything else I didn't ask that you want me to ask you? Can I ask you about your record collection?
Sure.
What about your record collection? Tell me
I love vinyl. It's a place for me to relax at night. When I'm done with my day, I can go into my office. The funny thing about it, it takes standing up every 20 minutes.
22 minutes, you have to get up.
You have to get up versus just being able to do that.
Have you ever thought of maybe getting one of those high-tech like turntable flippers?
Do they have one of those?
I think they exist.
I've never seen that.
I don't know.
That
I assume
sounds
that there's
pretty
something
cool.
that would pick it up and flip it, maybe not.
That's pretty cool.
All right, but we're relaxing. You
Right.
Put the needle down just right.
I love old cars.
Do you guys sell hi-fi equipment?
No, we do not.
Okay. Good. Separate personal and business.
I did ask for them to test, but we haven't gotten the test in on whether or not vinyl would be a category that we get into.
You could carry the Adafruit vinyl record.
Yeah,
All right,
definitely do that.
Oh, here you go. I will actually. Thank
All right.
you, assistant.
Thank you.
This is the Adafruit vinyl
This is my
record.
biggest treasure.
Frequency. It was all authored music by
wow.
Tom White, who is
That is
director
so
of
cool.
operations, and it's a lovely pink vinyl record.
Wow. Amazing! Wow, that is really cool.
You can play
I need
that.
signatures on it, though. I need your signature.
We can take care of that.
That's really cool. Thank you.
This is our gift to you. Thank
I know.
you.
I feel like we came empty-handed.
It's fine. You're our
Familiar with
guest.
that? But what I really do want to finalize our conversation is that I've been in this business for as you know, like 35 years, and this category is one of the most exciting categories I think that I've seen in the last 10 or 15 years. I mean, the PC has been split up in 100 different form factors, and the desktop is in 100 different form factors. But the customers coming in that are buying these products are really what I think is our future.
Okay.
And we think that that's going to be what drives Microcenter in the future, is those technology customers.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm very, very excited
I know you're
about
in town to see Maker Faire New York. You'll be
Yes,
there?
I am.
Okay, and you'll get some ideas. You can, give out. You should get a bunch of business cards because you never know. You might find somebody who'll be like, "I want to carry that. I want to carry that."
Yeah,
These
guys they're shopping. And the funny thing is, with these newer categories, we still have to invent. We're back to the 1980s where you have to talk to them about. You have to put it in a package.
Oh yeah, makers have no idea.
I know, they're like,
what?
we order these
UPC
products.
code? I know.
So you order these products from all these inventors that are making these makers products, and you have to like go through it. It takes a process.
And so you just take the original receipt for the first few Apple computers from Steve Jobs, and he hand wrote one Apple computer, and he was just that was his receipt.
Right.
They didn't have a cash machine yet.
Right.
So cool.
It's important enough for us to have the most innovative products. We'll order them in. And
It's very bleeding edge.
No, we will. We'll put them in plastic bags, and we'll print mailing labels.
Yeah.
And we'll put little baggies just so we can
Hang them up.
In the store and
Yeah,
have
we
that
don't do
opportunity
that.
for the
We have
customer.
bins.
So
All
I
right.
think it's kind of neat.
You're
Yeah.
you feel young again.
I know, it's really cool.
It's
really
like you're
cool.
20 again.
Yeah.
All right, well, it's a
All right.
pleasure. Thank you so much
All
for
right.
coming by.
I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
It was a great interview, and
Yeah.
we'll come back and have more interviews with exciting leaders in the maker movement. You are now a
Great.
leader, whether you like it or not.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
And see everybody at Maker Faire New York.
All right. See you later.